In the last season of Bullet Heaven, we've seen some interesting genre benders. Crossing shmups and fighting games works fairly well, by and large, but get ready for another freaky hybrid, shmup racing. It's just what you'll find in Shippu Mahou Daisakusen, Kingdom Grand Prix, or as it's translated, Gale Great Battle of Magic, or Hurricane Magic Armageddon, Kingdom Grand Prix. Now that's a mouthful.
First released to arcades in 1994 by Rising as a sequel to the original Mahou Daisakusen and the second game of 3 in an overall trilogy, Kingdom Grand Prix made its way to the Sega Saturn in Japan by way of publisher Gaga Communications in 1996, and like any other Rising game, it sports some really intense gameplay. So let's take a closer look.
To start, Kingdom Grand Prix gives you an assortment of 8 characters to choose from, each with unique weapons and abilities. Lots of choice is always a good thing, and with everything from robots to necromancers, things are nice and varied. When you start though, Kingdom Grand Prix can be a pretty misleading game. If you go into this one looking to just blast stuff away, get ready for 8th place. Despite having your typical vertical orientation and the firepower to blast your opposition into fine dust, this is still more or less a drag race. So the typical shmupper really has to make an effort to break the established norms.
The A button will fire a single shot, but when held down, will also kick your ship into afterburner for a nice burst of speed. Hanging out near the top of the screen can also boost your speed but can be risky because of stray bullets. If it comes to blows, especially with bosses, holding the C button will throw your shots into rapid fire, but you'll slow down considerably. Since you can't boost and shoot at the same time, there's quite a bit of risk-reward in this single mechanic.
While a lot of your opposition can actually be taken out by colliding directly with them with your ship, there are also a number of power-ups to help out with decimating the obstacles that would otherwise take too long to literally bump off. Meanwhile, your core racing opponents can also be strong-armed into submission by colliding with them and pushing them off the bottom of the screen.
There are small bags of coins that will flutter on screen which can either be shot or rammed into to disperse their contents. These coins will boost the power of the main shot, and while shooting the bag is usually effective enough, ramming the bag is always the best shot at getting all the coins in it.
Angels holding treasure chests can also appear, and when shot or rammed will drop auxiliary spellbook power-ups. Spellbooks with an H will grant a homing shot, while the spellbook with an F will give you a powerful forward-firing attack. These can be powered up with consecutive multiple pickups of the same type. Extra bomb attacks are also able to be collected, which helps with clearing the air of bullets, enemies, and even slowing down your main competition. If you have to continue, a fairy will appear that drops a ton of these power-ups just to get you back up to speed.
The controls are a little bit of a problem though. Often, a quick tap of the D-pad will hurtle your ship around at ridiculous speeds.
This is a problem when it comes to trying to dodge some of the more intense enemy fire while trying to stay ahead. In the case of 2-player games, it can also lead to confusion and accidental deaths, thanks to bumping the other player into enemy fire. On the other hand though, during a 2-player game, one player can concentrate on maintaining a boosted speed while the other can take out the baddies with rapid fire, a tactic that would otherwise be impossible. Finally, when you cross the finish line, you can then choose the next stage by which you'll race. This allows for quite a bit of replayability beyond the fairly shallow scoring system, which is always a good thing. In stark contrast to many of Rising's other games like Battle Garega, which offer a scoring system that allows for quick extends and strategic dying, there isn't too much in the line of amazing scoring in Kingdom Grand Prix.
Gaining power to the point of maxing it out, then collecting additional power-ups will net you a decent bonus, and there are stages with a number of bonus gem pickups along the way. But all in all, there's not too much to go on for score. In this respect, the racing aspect seems more emphasized.
Of course, placing higher in the overall ranking will get you the largest bonuses. Coming in first place gets you a slick 10,000 points, while coming in further behind will obviously get you less.
There is, of course, also the racing score, which gives you a placing score depending on how you finish in the race. There's no rubber band AI here, so this placing system works really well.
Kingdom Grand Prix is a pretty neat concept, and equally neat is its presentation. Everything is presented in glorious, well-animated 2D, and despite so much happening on screen, everything moves at a swift clip, with very little slowdown. While the smaller sprites may not have the same level of detail as the main ships, their actions lend to a layer of detail that is always awesome.
Some of these details are really great. The crowds in the grandstands, pilots being flung from their ships when they blow up, gunnery crews on huge airships, even hilariously dark jokes right in the middle of boss battles. When it comes to the visuals, Kingdom Grand Prix succeeds. There's even a true Tate mode when selecting arcade mode. Meanwhile, the Saturn mode allows for regular screens to display the game with either fixed or dynamic scrolling.
And of course, then there's the sound. Kingdom Grand Prix has an OST penned once again by Hitoshi Sakamoto and Masaharu Iwata, who also worked on such titles as Ogre Battle and Magical Chase. On the whole, it's great stuff, and while it's awesome that it's presented through Red Book Audio, the Saturn's synth engine might have been a better fit. Still, it's more than listenable.
Meanwhile, the sound effects are pretty standard. Decent explosions and voice samples round out the sound, though some of the death cries can be a bit shrill. So, all in all, just how does Shippu Mahou Daisakusen Kingdom Grand Prix stack up? Let's take a look.
Kingdom Grand Prix controls well enough to navigate most incoming bullet swarms, but it can feel a bit too fast most of the time.
Moving around is way too twitchy most of the time, and not great for novices.
This is a hard-ass hard game, no question. A lot of practice will be needed in order to survive and place high.
This game wasn't afraid to kick my ass, but practice does lead to improvement.
With a ton of alternate stages available to play through, you could spend a very long time with this game to work out the most comfortable or highest scoring route.
I felt that the length here wasn't bad at all, very to the point.
Solid 2D visuals spring to life with all sorts of tiny details.
I enjoyed the small details in the visuals, and the character design was quite unique. Honest John, Bornam, and Buljin were neat standouts.
The arcade OST recordings might not be as good as they could be, but the OST itself is still quite tops.
The music here is fairly decently written, and some of the voiceovers are pretty awesome. Again, Honest John and Bornam take the spotlight.
Racing and shmup. It's a pretty unique hybrid that you should absolutely be investigating if you dig shmups, racing, or imports. It's pretty great stuff.
The core concept is pretty neat, even if in practice it's not so hot. Others, like Sarah, might dig it though.
This was quite the intriguing title. Long before I picked it up, I had always wondered and imagined how well Kingdom Grand Prix could work. In the end, it works fairly well with some truly interesting gameplay mechanics. Shippu Mahou Daisakusen Kingdom Grand Prix gets a 4 out of 5. At auction, you can get a copy of Kingdom Grand Prix for anywhere between $40 and $70 on average. You should never have to pay more than $60, though sealed copies are obviously more expensive. It's not exactly cheap, but it's more than worth it if you're looking for a crazy neat change of pace from the standard shooting fare.
Mahou Daisakusen.
Battle of Magic.